This is Electric Universe Eyes, and today I'm going to read you part 1 of Carl Sagan and Immanuel Velikovsky, An Improbable Tale. Some 40 years ago, Immanuel Velikovsky triggered a venomous scientific controversy when he claimed that within the past few thousand years, errant planets have nearly destroyed life on Earth. Though his book Worlds in Collision was highly successful commercially, becoming a #1 bestseller in 1950, Velikovsky was quickly reputed en masse by accredited astronomers, physicists, historians, and other specialists. His claims, it was said, violated the self-evident principles of physics and astronomy, and most everything we had come to know about our Earth and the solar system. In sweeping terms, Velikovsky appeared to cast aside the most treasured assumptions of the scientific age. And worst of all, he drew the better part of his testimony from early mythical and religious texts, an outlandish reservoir of evidence in the opinion of most physical scientists. Yet it is a fact that Velikovsky's case was persuasive enough to convince a good many critical readers, while an even larger number urged open-mindedness and a fair consideration of Velikovsky's unusual thesis. Analyzing ancient sources from around the world, Velikovsky noted a consistent story of interplanetary conflagrations. It seems that early man recalled the planetary gods as fearsome powers, armed with missiles and thunderbolts, whose battles threw the world into confusion. Velikovsky believed that these stories were based on memories of actual events, a time when the planets moved on erratic courses, waging battles in the sky and menacing our own planet. Near collisions disturbed the terrestrial axis, removed the Earth from its established path, and produced worldwide catastrophes. Velikovsky's research led him to an extraordinary theory about the planet Venus. He claimed that Venus was born explosively from the planet Jupiter only a few thousand years ago, taking on the appearance of a comet and moving on an Earth-threatening orbit around the Sun. On at least 2 occasions, he said, the Earth passed through the trailing debris, or the comet-like Venus, showers of stone and fire descending on terrestrial inhabitants and leveling civilizations the world over. It was the first of these 2 disasters in Velikovsky's reconstruction which ended the Egyptian Middle Kingdom and provided the catastrophic backdrop to the Hebrew Exodus. To build his case, Velikovsky undertook a global survey of mythical and historical records, supplemented by archaeological testimony. He claimed that ancient observations of planetary motions make no sense, at least in terms of the heavens we know today. Ancient sundials and water clocks, he reported, likewise testify to an altered celestial order, while the star chart on an Egyptian tomb represents a confused, upside-down sky. From opposite sides of the world, Velikovsky produced surprising, dovetailing reports describing celestial upheavals and apparent devastations from Earth-changing encounters. As told, it was an extraordinary and exciting thesis, but less than convincing to astronomers and physicists reading summaries in Parade magazine and Reader's Digest. Not just Velikovsky's conclusions, but the approach itself was patently misplaced, at least in the eyes of those who had long dismissed ancient religion and myth as valueless to modern science. That Velikovsky gathered his evidence from such untrustworthy sources, then used it to rewrite the history of the solar system, seemed to violate every canon of acceptable methodology. In the years since publication of Worlds in Collision, the Velikovsky affair has been the subject of continuing discussion in popular articles and books, but no one entering the fray has brought more attention to the issue than the prominent astronomer, author, and television personality Carl Sagan. In at least 4 books published in the past 15 years, Sagan has presented a detailed position on the Velikovsky question, concluding that there is no admissible scientific evidence to support the latter's claims. Sagan's widely read treatments of the issue were preceded by a face-to-face encounter between Sagan and Velikovsky at a 1974 special symposium of the American Association for the Advancement of Science in San Francisco. There are a number of reasons for addressing the Velikovsky issue squarely. It is, to begin with, an excellent case study in the history of unconventional ideas and the way such ideas are handled by the guardians or orthodox science. And more importantly, many issues raised by Velikovsky simply have not gone away.